Is the title a little harsh? It could be. Am I hating? I don't think so. Just let me cook for a few minutes and we'll get into it. Lil Mabu has been around for a couple years now. He popped up around the COVID time. He went on a crazy run where he was going up and up, and people thought he was next big rapper. He was the next big mainstream thing. And then he sort of just fell off the face of the earth. And honestly, for good reason. I think Mabu at this point deserved to fall off. I don't think I'm hating. I think I'm well within reason. And we're going to dive right into it. I'm not going to take up too much time with the intro. We're just going to go right ahead into it. Just let me cook for a few minutes and you might agree with me by the end of the video. If you're new here, my name is Ron. I make weekly videos on hip hop. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload, and we're going to get right into it. So Lil Mabu came up a good while back. It's been a couple years now. He really started coming up with this Dusty Lil Kane Lab No Snitching. And then he went on to continue to have bigger and bigger collabs. He did an On the Radar freestyle. Mathematical Disrespect went crazy on TikTok. Rich Scholar went crazy on TikTok. But really, his catalog is pretty small when you think about it. He just has one album that consists of most of the singles that he put out before his album. And then he put out 2 or 3 singles after that. So he's still very young into his career. But I do feel like with what we've seen so far, that his fall off was very well within reach. Everybody could see it coming. And everybody except for him, honestly, because for one, he was a gimmick rapper. We've seen this before. We've seen Lil Dicky, Ugly God, shit. Even Jack Harlow was a little gimmicky when he first started coming up. And it never works. It never works. Even Jack Harlow has a lyric where he said, used to have a gimmick, I'm glad I never went big with it. Because you can't go big with it, realistically. Lil Dicky and Ugly God are both rappers that were far more successful than Lil Mabu. But Lil Mabu's gimmick just didn't last as long. He was feeding into the whole like horny white rapper gets pushed around at college type of narrative, and that while that attracts like the younger audience, it doesn't really earn you respect in rap, I feel like, and it just makes everybody see you as like, this gimmicky rapper. And realistically, he was going on a run. He was doing well. He just played way too much into that gimmick instead of taking himself seriously as a rapper. And for that reason, we've seen him have a drop off in just his streams in general. His music in general just hasn't been going as crazy as it used to. I mean, you look at a song like Teach Me How to Drill with Fabio Foreign that got 43 million views. And then you look at Bonnie Blue that was 2 months ago and it's sitting at 2 million views. And then he just recently dropped a song over a week ago, Am I Enough? And that's at 200K views. And I mean, those are pretty decent numbers as is, but for the caliber of numbers that Lil Mabu was hitting, it's a pretty big downfall considering where he was at just, a year ago from today. And part of that fall off is because he thought of himself as a marketing genius. He even like marketed himself as like, Young Genius Academy, YGA, marketing expert, all this, because he did have a lot of success online before becoming a rapper, as somebody behind the scenes marketing for other artists. So in that aspect, he does have a good mind for the internet. He's a young guy, but he also hasn't had that experience enough to really fully understand how to maintain that level of success. Really, when you're that young, I mean, it's very easy to think that you know more than you do, or that nobody can tell you different. And then once your marketing strategy starts failing, you're sort of stuck there wondering what you did wrong. And I don't think Lil Mabu's like a bad marketer by any chance. He's definitely a great marketer. I feel like he just got a little in over his head with how much he can handle on his own because he is independent. He's not backed by a label, and it sort of feeds into my next point that he didn't go all in with the music. He decided to go to college, which nobody can knock Lil Mabu for. Big ups to Lil Mabu for going to school and wanting to get his degree before fully pursuing this rap career that he got success at while still in high school. So big ups to him for that. But if you look at it, if he really thought that he could be this mainstream star that's collabing with, Young Boy, which he did, and other big artists, he needs to go all in. He can't be this stretched thin, because realistically, college is no light commitment, especially, you have to dedicate a good amount of time to it, and you're doing that, and then he's basically living a Hannah Montana life. He's basically, bro thinks he's Hannah Montana. And I don't think it's something that's maintainable. I don't think it's something that I'm sure he knows isn't maintainable, because during the semester you would see him slow down on the content. You wouldn't see any music coming out. You wouldn't see him posting online, doing any content. So he definitely knows that if he's focusing on school, it's hard for him to get back into being focused on the music, which is why it makes sense that he's dropping records now, that it's end of May, early June, around the time that college gets out. So it makes sense that he's starting to get more active now that he's not focused on school anymore for the summer. So we might see a lot of Lil Mabu over the summer. We might even see him come back a little bit, but I don't think he's going to hit the levels that he hit last year. And another big thing is that he just couldn't maintain the collabs. He was continuing to sort of level up each collab. He was sort of doing he was collabing with somebody bigger each single. It felt like he started collabing with like Dusty Locane and Didi Osama, and I mean, he's definitely a real one. He's still collabing with Didi Osama, which is cool for him. But then he started collabing with Krishan Rock, Fabio Foreign, so he's leveling up a little bit. And then he gets the Young Boy feature. After that, it's just you're sort of, he got clouded up to a certain level, but then he didn't take advantage of all the collabs that he could have done at that time and then spread them out, dropping. He could have collabed with a lot more artists while he was at that peak. It seemed like he was very, very selective of who he collabed with. But had he collabed with more artists, he could have spread out those singles dropping. He could have definitely just made more music with other artists and taken the chance to make more music with other artists. He did do a song with Lil Baby that honestly went pretty unnoticed from what I see. So I feel like all in all, Lil Mabu is just a recipe for an artist that was meant to fall off or just not have that big of a wave for that long, because while he did have great success for that moment of time right before his album, after his album, it sort of took a big drop off. And part of the reason being is his album was trash, bro. Like, honestly, before the album dropped, I was excited to hear what a Lil Mabu album sounded like. Like, I thought he was doing solid. It seemed like he was really doing his thing. He was doing his dorm sessions that he had, Eneli Choppa on, Fabio Foreign on. I think he even had a collab with Lil RT, which was weird. But he was moving in all in the right direction. But then when he came time to drop the album, all the songs that didn't have a feature on them were just trash, honestly. I mean, he was carried by features. Even the songs that were good, that were by himself, just weren't that great. I mean, Oppie Day is just a terrible parody song, pretty much. I just don't think that he took the time he needed to make this album, and he could have made it way better than what it is. But, it is what it is. It's his first project. He's a young guy. Maybe he'll come back in a few years. Maybe I am hating, but I feel like the way he was moving and the way that he essentially propped himself up to be this marketing genius and somebody who was here to stay, and now he's not really doing crazy numbers anymore. It was something that was very evident. I feel like everybody saw coming from a mile away. So I don't feel like I'm hating. I might be. Y'all let me know. I feel like I'm very much just, making a fair observation. But if I am hating, my bad. I feel like I'm very much within reason. And it doesn't seem like it's it doesn't seem like it's a hating observation for me. It's more of like the dude just fell off, really. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, he was like, maybe he'll come back this summer and drop a couple hot singles, but he previewed a couple on Instagram the other day that honestly the one he did drop wasn't sounding that great, so that's a testament to the other two. I don't think that he has many great. Bonnie Blue wasn't bad. It was all right, but he was sort of trying to recreate. I mean, just look at the thumbnail for Bonnie Blue on YouTube versus Mathematical Disrespect. Like, you can see that he was trying to sort of recreate a moment there. But, it is what it is. Hopefully he still has a lot of success. He is a young guy. I would love to see him succeed. I just feel like he just wasn't moving in a way that is built for long-term success, if you ask me. But that's what I think about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely drop a comment below. I'd love to start a discussion with you guys. Thank you for sticking around through the whole video. If you're still around, I appreciate you a ton. It means the world. Definitely make sure you like the video if you did enjoy. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, so I feel like we can definitely do it. I'm just going to need all the help I can get, so if you want to help me out with that, I would definitely appreciate it. And with that being said, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.